clarify, but I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about anything else simply because this is an open investigation and we still have a lot of work to do. So, again, my condolences to the families of Savannah and Matthew. By now, everybody's aware of the incidents, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time rehashing facts that are already known, but I will go over them high level. So, on 12/26/23, our officers discovered two deceased individuals in a Kia Optima, and our homicide detectives at that point began their investigation right on that scene. Um, Detectives learned that both victims were involved in the sale of narcotics and used their cell phones to conduct much of their business. Detectives collected the victims' phones, and with the help of the United States Secret Service, we were able to extract information that led to the development of a possible location of a suspect vehicle that was seen on the surveillance video. That occurred on Wednesday, 1/3/24. Detectives drove to that location and saw the suspect vehicle. They approached the home where the suspect vehicle was, and they knocked on the door. An individual by the name of Ramon Preciado answered the door and seemed to know why SAPD was there and cooperated with the investigation. Both Ramon and Christopher were home and brought to the SAPD homicide office for questioning. During the interviews, both suspects made enough statements to implicate them in the murder. Detectives walked warrants for their arrests. Christopher was arrested on the charge of capital murder. Ramon was arrested on the charge of abuse of a corpse. Yesterday, 1/4, more charges were filed. Christopher was also charged with abuse of a corpse, altering, destroying, or concealing evidence on a human corpse. Ramon was also charged with altering, destroying, concealing evidence, human corpse. Detectives also conducted a search warrant at the home of the suspects where evidence was recovered. There is still an active investigation, and I'm not going to go into too much of the details, as I've previously said, because I don't want to jeopardize the integrity of the case or make the DA's job any harder once he gets involved in it. The final piece of information I have for you is that the gun believed to be the murder weapon has been recently recovered from the suspect's home, and we'll share that with you. And Joe, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everyone. First, I want to thank Chief McManus for inviting me to be a part of this press conference. Before I begin, I also want to extend my condolences to the Soto and Guerra families as they are in the midst of mourning. They are in the midst of grieving for the loss of their loved ones. So I think it would be appropriate for us to give them the respect that is due them during this period. But I do want to say that as I mentioned before, arrests were made. I was confident because I knew the kind of work that happens over here. I know the kind of dedication that the San Antonio Police Department has. They would identify suspects and make arrests, and that's exactly what happened. So I want to commend Chief McManus. I want to commend the entire command staff, and I especially want to call out the lead homicide detective for doing an outstanding job. I'm sure as typical, he may have had others assist him, but I know that his team was working around the clock, and it made a difference because we always want to formulate a suspect as soon as possible. We always want to identify someone who is a perpetrator of a crime as soon as possible, and that happened here. So again, my gratitude to the entire department and specifically to the detectives that were involved in this case. As I have said recently, our job is just beginning, but we have to give SAPD time to complete their investigation. What they do when they, and the term is walking a warrant, when they present an affidavit for an arrest warrant, They only need to present probable cause to a magistrate judge, but that's only the beginning. They have the responsibility to complete the investigation, and I know that they will do that. They will do an outstanding job as that they've done so far. So let's give them the time to do what they need to do. We have 90 days to indict these cases, and so I am sure that they're going to get a prosecution guide, which is the term that we use for a complete file. I'm sure that they will get it to us in the appropriate time and before that 90-day timeline. Again, I want to commend everyone involved in the San Antonio Police Department for doing an outstanding job in identifying suspects and making arrests. Let's let the detectives complete their job. Let's let them file the cases in our office, and then we'll make the charging decisions, and we'll go from there. And again, I can't overestimate this. In order to bring justice to the memory of these two victims, and in order to bring justice to the survivors and the family members, it's going to be a long road, but we have to take things one step at a time. So let's do that. Let's let SAPD do their job, and then we'll need some time to review the facts and make those charging decisions. And once the case is indicted, then we'll go to the next step. And I'm sure I will have questions about this. Let me get this out there right now. There have been questions about whether or not this will be something that we will seek the death penalty on. It's too early to tell. I don't know whether or not this is something that we will make that decision. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. As in every other case where we have a defendant who is death penalty eligible, we have a capital crimes committee that will meet, that will make, we will hear a presentation from the lead prosecutor in the court where this case ends up, and then we will discuss the facts that go into making a decision to seek the death penalty. But again, it is too early to tell. We don't want to put the cart before the horse. Let's wait till we get an entire case filed in our office. And once that happens, I anticipate that we will have indictments returned, but we have to wait and let a grand jury make that decision. But after that, then we will take it to the next level and make whatever decisions that we need to. Thank you very much.
I'll take a few questions.
And for the gun that was recovered at the suspect's home, have you guys done any tests, run ballistics on the gun to see if there's been any other connection to crimes?
I will just say that we believe it's the gun that was used in the murder. As far as the testing and the ballistic results go, I'm not sure what they have yet.
Chief, can you help clear something up on the surveillance video? We've had a lot of people reach out. It appears as if someone tosses the towel to Ramon Preciado before he wipes down the door on the sedan. Is that how it played out? What can you tell us about that small part of the scene?
Yeah, that's something we're still looking into. It's something that's been brought up in conversation about this, so we're still looking into that.
That could potentially be a third suspect or someone that was there while the bodies were dropped off.
As the investigation continues, it could be. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it is possible.
If someone was there, if there was a second person in that truck, could they be charged with the same altering of the corpse or, essentially moving the bodies? Is that how the charge works?
They could be, but I mean, that's something that would be determined once the level of that person's involvement is understood, if that is the case at all.
We saw videos of police activity on the house of Seattle. Were you with the mom? Are you questioning her?
I'm going to leave that question unanswered. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Sorry, can you go over the charges one more time for each one of them since they're updated now?
Sure. So the additional charges that were filed were for Ramon. Christopher was arrested on a capital murder charge. Ramon was arrested on a charge of abuse of a corpse. Yesterday, Christopher was also charged with abuse of a corpse. And he and Ramon were charged with altering, destroying, or concealing evidence.
As far as the capital murder charges, would it be 1, 2, or three, you know, how many charges that Christopher will face?
I-
It involves all of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and any further questions you have, you might want to just refer to the affidavit, the last affidavit.
Joe, fiscal, ¿en español nos puede dar unas palabras?
Claro que sí. Pues estamos aquí para hablar con respecto del caso que se trata de las víctimas la señora Soto y el señor Guerra, Savannah Soto y Matthew Guerra. Quiero decir que le agradezco mucho a los miembros de la policía, del departamento de SAPD por el trabajo que han hecho, porque pudieron identificar sospechosos en este caso rápido, y es una cosa muy positiva para nosotros. Y hay un requisito que ellos tienen que presentarnos el expediente, ¿verdad? Los hechos del caso, para que nosotros podamos revisar esos detalles y luego hacer la decisión cómo vamos a cargar a esas personas formalmente con lo que se dice un indictment. Vamos a tener que esperar hasta que presenten todo. Más o menos se tiene que llevar de cabo antes de 90 días. Y después de ese tiempo vamos a presentar los hechos del caso ante un gran jurado, y si podemos obtener el indictment o sea la acusación formal, entonces vamos a hacer decisiones de ahí en adelante, incluyendo la decisión si vamos a pedir la pena de muerte, pero vamos a tener que seguir con mucho cuidado, ¿verdad?
We'll
Y vamos
talk
a
about all
empezar
this
con
in just a second, guys.
ese paso y luego vamos a hacer las decisiones.
But just in case there's Spanish speakers among us, it might have been easier to understand. I just wanted to make sure we listened.
Is considered a person when it comes to the capital murder. Can you just reiterate that on camera?
Sure. Clearly, we have enough to charge Christopher with Preciado with capital murder because we have 2 adult victims. But under Texas law, when an unborn child, and it's under whatever period of gestation, is that unborn child is considered a person under Texas law for purposes of including an unborn child as an additional count for capital murder. We have every intention, of course, the Chief Madness, actually, the Sergeant made a comment that they intend to file 3 charges, listing 3 victims. We have every intention of including the unborn child as an additional count. But again, we'll have to wait and see when the case is filed. But that's correct. We can charge someone with additional count. While you're asking the question, let me clarify, because it's already been asked, why the father, Ramon Preciado, is not charged with capital murder. Someone can be charged with murder if that person is directly responsible because that person either intentionally or knowingly caused the death of the individual, or that person can be charged as a party to a murder. But under Texas law, the only way that someone can be charged as a party is that person has to aid, assist, encourage, or abet the commission of the offense intended. As far as we know, there is no evidence to indicate that the father was involved in the murder. Now, that may change as this case develops. The detective is going to continue his investigation. If there's at some point some evidence that the father was in fact involved in the murder, then that can change. But I know there is a common conception that when someone is an accessory, in fact, that we can charge him, but he has to be more than an accessory. In fact, under Texas law, we have to be able to prove that he was a party to
The
offense.
intent.
So again, for now, the only one that's being charged with capital murder is Christopher Preciado.
Thank you all.
Okay, guys. So there we have it. Well, okay. Like much of the stuff with this case, it really didn't. Well, I mean, we now know they have the gun. We now know they have the gun. We now know that they intend to classify baby Fabian as a victim. So again, the idea that he wouldn't be, or there was no charges related to him, was breaking my heart. I know it was breaking all of your hearts too, right? You guys are looking at your own kids and just, I can't even think about it. I don't even want to put it in anybody's mind. I really don't. But we learned they have the gun. They didn't. This is what I hate about it. Like, we know they're going to say we can't comment because it goes to the integrity of the investigation, but we just want them to ask the darn questions, right? Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Like, was the gun Matthews? I mean, there's just a litany of questions that you had an opportunity. You had the state attorney there. You had the freaking chief there. Like, we need to woosah something. We need to woosah something. But I mean, it's like we were there, we were listening to it, and they asked like 3 questions, and he was like literally ready to leave, and they finally started asking some questions. But my word, it's almost like the person that was in that room must have been getting the same messages that we were getting as it was happening, because it seems to me that right when we started saying, hey, wait a minute, why aren't they talking about baby? Like, we were watching them getting ready to leave and nobody's asking any questions about baby Fabian. And so somebody here in the chat had just said it. And right about that time, that reporter started asking, and it's like, what is going on here? They're all standing there waiting for them to elaborate. This police chief seems pretty close to the vest. It seems like he's been around the block a time or two. Like, he's not going to tell you any more than you're asking him, right? And even when you ask him, he's probably only going to give you half of what you're asking. He's that kind of police chief. I like his style. I can't, even though I don't like the fact that he, blocks people like us out. I like his style, I know he's a good police chief, he's been around the block a time or two, chip off the old block, right? But it was just that no questions were really asked. So we don't know. We do know they have the gun. We don't know if the gun is Matthews. We don't know if they would even be willing to answer that question because nobody asked. Yeah, I kind of like, I don't know how you guys feel. I like the prosecuting attorney on this. I like his demeanor already. He seems very, what he seems like he gives a damn. Am I wrong about that? It, like, the way he talks, the way he holds himself, it seems like he cares. I like that. He made me feel all warm and fuzzy. And we don't get that very often. Coming out the gate, but he made me feel all warm and fuzzy. He made me feel like he's got this. And I kind of believe he does with his soft tone and everything. Like sometimes our pit bulls come in Chihuahua packages, right? Right? Not that he's short. I don't know how tall he is. He's just, what I'm trying to say is, never mind. I'm going to get in trouble one way or another. The words never come out of my mouth, right? But I like him. I feel comfortable. Is old Rusty in the house? I haven't seen old Rusty in a while. How's those rusty buckets, old Rusty? Or rusty kettles? Rusty kettles. How's those rusty kettles? Sometimes our pit bulls come at you. That's going to be on a thumbnail somewhere. Can you believe she called him a chihuahua? I didn't mean it like that. I swear. You people are animals. But I felt he did make me feel warm and fuzzy, and he made me feel comfortable. You know what? He made me feel like he cared about baby Fabian when he said, and he like stopped the presses and even went and elaborated a little bit more. That's what made me feel so like he wanted to make sure the public knew they cared about baby Fabian. And I'm very confident everybody seems like they're on the same page with that. I have to say, reading the room, guys. If I had to put my finger on it, this is not true, accurate, or correct. I don't know. It might be, right? It might be. It's speculation station. No pun intended. No pun intended. Speculation. Is she in here? Are you in here? Yeah, you are in here. No pun intended. No pun intended. But if I had to read the room, they're going for DP on him. If I had to read that room, I'm telling you, that committee's they're gonna seek the death penalty for him, because I think what they're gonna find out is this is cold and calculated. You know what, Mike, which is kind of surprising coming from our resident defense attorney. Holy crap. This is going to be, now, I mean, not laughing at the case, just laughing at Mike and Mike only. Okay. I don't want this being manipulated either, but this is a shocker for me. This is Mike. I got to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm speechless. I'm absolutely speechless, but that's until the trial, right? I mean, I think you were gung-ho about Alec Murdaugh until the snot and the tears. No, they really weren't much tears. I think it was more snot than tears. I don't know what it was. It was just disgusting. It was disgusting. But I don't know if the father. This is what I think. This is really what I think, and I'm not sure how true it is. Determined kids that need to hide something from their parents. Well, my thing is, I don't understand why he would call his dad. It seems like his dad would. Let's play this tape through. Let's just play devil's advocate. Let's just play this tape through. So at what point? Well, I guess the problem is the first thing, we don't know where the shooting actually took place. We're all assuming that it happened at the Charlie Chan address. That's a big assumption for all of us to be making. But in reality, we are making that great assumption that this had to have happened there. It was only 4 minutes away from where the dump site was. And then people are like, well, why didn't anybody hear a gunshot? How do we know somebody didn't? We didn't really have a whole lot of people saturating that area when this crime took place. We still have it. I don't know if we really have a whole lot of neighbors that have come out or have said one way or another. We know we have the one neighbor that shot all the law enforcement coming there that day out their window. We saw that. But I don't, especially in and around the time that this all took place, probably nobody in the neighborhood was the wiser until the cops come a knocking, to be honest with you. Because I really didn't hear their names in the back chat. I didn't hear any neighbors coming to like Reddit or into the chat room I don't know when their names were ever brought up. And I don't think it was ever brought up on social media, to be honest with you. That means if it wasn't brought up on social media, their neighbors didn't even know. And if that's I'm wildly speculating about the majority of this stuff, because maybe there was a neighbor that threw their name in a comment somewhere on the chat with 175,000 or 50,000, 150 something. I don't even know what that the count is in that one Facebook group. I have no earthly idea, but I'm sure even if somebody did bring their names up, it would have been swallowed alive. I don't know. But I keep thinking about it. If it did happen at the house, again, we're wildly speculating that it did, because we have no clue. We still have no clue where the actual killing took place. But how did Matthew get in? Now we can finally ask the question of how Matthew got in the back seat. Now that we know for sure he was dragged, that means that gives us at least that information to imply that he was dragged into the car. If he was dragged into the car, he was on the outside of the car. Was he on the outside of the car when he got killed? That's another speculation. We have to either assume he was killed in the car or assumed he was killed outside of the car. There's no other options. I would never move to Texas. I don't know. You know what? It's funny that you say that. The only reason why I'm laughing is because this world is getting so crazy. Like, I don't even want to move. Like, I'm rolling the dice. You roll the dice. Like, I've been here my whole entire life. So far, nothing's happened that bad. I'm still here. I can still feel the pinch. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those skeptical people. It's like I would move to a state and then get hit right with a tornado or a hurricane. And it'd have been like, if I just didn't move, I was just fine where I was. Does anybody else get like that? I agree, Mike. It's more found out about the dead. But if they did take him, if it did happen at the house, we have to remember he had to get in the back seat. He got in the back seat. He was in the back seat. Did Dad help? Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. If Dad helped, then he's more involved. I mean, if Dad helped lift Matthew after he was already shot, to me, that's being a little more involved. I mean, now you're getting into just it's a little more involved, but I get it. He didn't have, I think what they were trying to say, let's go back and review that. But I think what he was trying to say is that they didn't, he didn't orchestrate it. It was kind of after the fact. He probably didn't. And I have to, based on any evidence that we've seen so far, we have to assume that his dad was probably notified after they were already dead and probably was like, oh crap, what do I do? That's what we hope happened. I mean, God forbid something more happened, but I have to think that they've dived through their text messages by now, their computer messages. I have to think that they know, and it seemed like Dad was cooperative, even though Dad helped. It sounded like Dad told him and admitted to the help that he provided. And that's why they gave him the charges that he gave him. I think they were angry that he helped. And I don't think they were angry that he helped. I mean, I think what upset, and I think it upsets any law enforcement because they have to expend so much more resources to find out the information, what could have happened and what should have happened, especially since his dad seems to be very, cooperating. And we don't know how remorseful his father is. His father coming out and saying fake news was really disheartening to me. And it was a little offensive in part. I don't think I was really offended. I think I was just off-putted at the moment, but I think it does offend me that he would come out there and say fake news, knowing everything that did transpire. And maybe he doesn't think that his involvement or wiping down a door is should be at that level. If that's really why he's upset about it, that he doesn't feel that he should be charged with this, because I mean he just merely wiped down a door, that's offensive to me. That was a pregnant young woman in that car, a pregnant teen that was about to give birth to her child. Her child was now that we know, about 24 hours away from, a day away from giving, breathing air. So his father, when this happened, should have called the cops, especially after he saw his truck and him in that video. He should have called the cops. He knew they were coming. Why make them come? Why not just at that moment do the right thing? And Dad chose yet again at a next opportunity to do the right thing and failed yet again. So in all of fairness, if you really want to look at it, I mean, he was given opportunities. Maybe his situation would not be what it is right now had he taken some of those opportunities he was provided to do the right thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm too harsh. I don't know. Let me go up here and read what you guys are writing. I'm going to go up a ways so I can follow. Because sometimes I come I'm in the middle of comments. And sometimes, yeah, I gotta say, I'm pretty sure some of your comments aren't designed to make me blush, but some of the responses you guys say, I don't think you realize how they say if you're not part of the conversation. Because there has been times I have literally read something on here that I think made the whole world blush, but when you go up, it's like innocent. It's talking about, an actual flower. Never mind. I probably should stop. Christopher will get the death penalty. They'll eventually find a lot more information about, how calculated it was. I have to think it was calculated. If that really was Matthew's gun, I feel bad and would like to know how Chris got a hold of it. But if it was Chris's gun, if it was a gun that Chris brought to that car or into that environment, it just goes right along with my theory that he never meant to have a drug deal. He absolutely, in my opinion, intended the sole purpose of having them come was to rob them, either of the drugs and the money or both, and probably both. Mommy and daddy probably didn't give him everything he wanted, and he wanted to get it the easy way. Might just be just like that. Might be just like that. I don't know though. I think it was premeditated. I didn't know, and I thought that they might have been abducted because of the scream that everybody heard. But we know now that they willingly went, and this was truly for a drug deal, and or at least they had the appearance of a drug deal. I'm gonna reserve that this was a drug deal until I hear a little more information, because I have my theory is that it may have been couched as a drug deal, but I feel like this was always going to be a robbery, and he was going to rob him of whatever he had on him, because of just how quickly all this transpired. 4 minutes, if it's accurate. The baby was going to be born in hours. Yeah, it's just sad. I agree. I had almost gotten an image of Alec. Oh. just when you think we got it gone now. It's what I tease. It's the only thing I tease Mike with. We're never getting it out. Well, until the next one. We're never getting Alec out of our mind. He's forever stained on the Bullhorn Betty channel. I hope he doesn't get a new trial, but you know what? I have not worried about somebody getting a new trial as worried as I am right now about Alec, to be honest with you. It's just this whole book thing with the clerk really did monkey with this. I wish she would have just waited a little bit longer. I mean, people would have bought her book because she was the clerk. She has a unique perspective that nobody else had. And I think it would have been wildly successful, probably more wildly successful than it is right now. And she wouldn't have the headaches that she does. If she would have just allowed that, because we knew the Murdaughs were going to appeal. We knew it. They can't put a headstone on their beloved family members, grave sites, but they'll be appealing the person that did it. I don't get it. They'd have to see blood where the body was drugged to. Yeah, that's true too. They got forensics. They've got forensics, but I think. Honestly, I think what we're going to find out is that they were, in fact, at the house when this happened. I don't know that to be true. This is just my wild speculation, that we're going to find out that they were at that house, that whatever transpired at that house. I don't know where at that house it would have transpired, but it seems to me that everybody is in agreement that Savannah didn't move out of the passenger seat. So we definitely know, at least for her, she was deceased. I think she was killed in the car. But as far as that, I don't really know much more. I mean, we know that Matthew was in the back, but I don't know if he was killed inside the car or outside the car. We now know that the law enforcement, without a doubt, factually has the murder weapon in their possession, custody, and control. They do not know anything about the ballistics yet, but in order for them to deem it the murder weapon, I'm sorry, but he did conclusively identify that as the murder weapon. And while he doesn't know about the ballistics, I really don't know of any other way of confirming a gun is the murder weapon without ballistics. So I'm going to say that they have the ballistics back, and that has been deemed the actual murder weapon. But with that being said, they didn't elaborate because, as many of you guys have brought up into the chat, Matthew is known to carry a gun on him. And it is known that he did not have, that his phone was not with him, nor was his gun. We heard that from the beginning, that his gun was not with him and his phone was not with him. So is that gun that killed him, is that his gun? Did he take a gun with him that night? Just because he always carries his weapon doesn't mean, you guys know how crazy the world is. It's like just that one time, right? We've all been there. The one time we forget to do this, or the one time we forget to do that, that's when it comes and bites us in the butt. What if he didn't take any kind of weaponry with him? What if he knew this kid and he's worked with this kid many times in the past? What if all the times in the past that this kid's worked with him was just to see what he does and how he does it and how much he usually is holding and stuff like that, I don't know. Scoping him out, The gun could have had a silencer. That's a good point. Well, if the gun had a silencer on it, they would need the silencer. It would screw up the ballistics. A silencer always screws up the ballistics. I just started. When I say always, I probably should for the exact police, because there may be that one time that it didn't mess with the grooves on it. Maybe I should say the majority of the time, just to be mostly accurate. It's too much. It's walking on eggshells. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not built like that, okay? I just started following the case. I still cannot find the link between them. Did Savannah ever date any of the perps? I don't think. Oh, you know what? That's a good question. It just sounds like, I think that the disconnect between all of us is he was selling this stuff online. This day and age, our young kids are online babies. We're online, but we're not online like they're online. Like, they do everything online. I mean, just about every, I'm sorry, but it's true. They do just about everything online, and this is one where they're actually selling this stuff online. Maybe and we don't know. There's no proof one way or another. What if they're meeting strangers, like on Bumble and the millennial stuff? That's what they do. They meet. Don't get it. They're used to the online life. That's all I'm trying to say. They're used to the online life. What does that mean? I don't know. And I don't know. Could she? I don't know. But not having a link there really isn't uncommon, because they've been doing this like this for so long. I mean, he's making a lot of money. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the neighbors are used to hearing. Oh, that's another perspective. Yeah, maybe they are used to hearing gunshots. One of the things I was thinking is, like, my house is concrete block. Whenever I'm sleeping, there's fireworks. Like, we have fireworks. The people around here are just crazy with fireworks. I mean, crazy with them. So we have them for Christmas. We have them for New Year's. We have them. Oh, good Lord. We have them for almost every other holiday. They set them off over in that direction, like literally on St. Patty's Day. Like, we just have a lot of fireworks. And in all fairness, a lot of people, like, especially out in Texas, they get a little saucy and they like shooting their guns in the air. It's a thing. I don't understand the thing, but it's a thing. So even if it's not meant to assault anybody, the loud popping and stuff, even if it wasn't gunfire, could potentially be explained by other things. Maybe people, and like you said, maybe they're just used to it, they just block it out. I have hearing problems, so I block out everything. We don't know the connection between them. Yeah, we really don't, other than, well, we do, because law enforcement has in the affidavit, we do know the connection has referenced the mayor. Well, they haven't they've referenced the dealing. They've referenced it. I don't think they directly stated, I can't remember. I don't know if they directly stated that. No, it doesn't directly state. Huh, interesting. I just, another light bulb went off on my head. This doesn't directly state this guy's motive at all, really. And doesn't even state that this was. Let me make sure. I mean, we've been reading so much stuff. Maybe we are adding stuff that should not be added. But I'm thinking, and sorry, I'm speaking out loud while I'm reading this. I don't think they ever directly stated that he was going over there to sell drugs to him. I mean, they implied that Matthew was selling narcotics. It says, while waiting for the search warrant, your affiant spoke to the families of the female and the male. It was found that the boyfriend to the female sold narcotics and would use his phone through cellular communications as well as social media to sell narcotics. It was also advised that the boyfriend would post money and narcotics on Instagram. We also found it on Telegram. It was also stated that people wanted to rob the boyfriend, and it was stated that the boyfriend had been shot at before. The family provided the affiant with the phone number of the female. The family of the male provided the affiant the phone number of his phone as well as his Instagram. So I don't think, and then it goes into when the search warrant arrived at the location, a search of the vehicle was conducted, and that's when they found the phone, and they recovered no weapon in the car. So, let me just put this in perspective. We're hearing from a lot of people that they say they know these people and that he always carries a gun. Well, unless they're always with him, they don't know if he always carries a gun. So we have to take some of this stuff because, is it possible that he left his gun at home and that this was a gun that was used? Is it possible it goes the other way? Based upon this affidavit, it could go either way. It doesn't specifically state that Matthew or Savannah were there for a drug deal at all. It implies that he was a drug dealer. It makes no references of any text messages. The only reference that I've seen that it made related to the searches was that, and this is where it says it. It says on January 2nd, your affiant provided one of the victim's cell phone to Detective Knox at the technical investigation. Detective Knox at the technical investigation unit, and then on January 3rd, your affiant received the phone download from Detective Knox. Your affiant figured that the victim had recently searched, or found that the victim had recently searched Charlie Chan Drive, and apparently that's where they went. Where they went and discovered the truck. And that's the photo of the car that was painted that says baby killer on it. So it never, I'm reading it, it never said that they were there for a drug deal. And it never said that they were there, that this was his gun. And really the only time we hear that he had a gun on him is by other people, rumors on the streets somewhere, on social media streets saying that he carries a gun with him all the time. We're taking a lot of stock in the people that are saying this without knowing how they even know this person, or if they are even directly related to either Savannah or Matthew. So we may need to take that into consideration. Let me keep going, guys. See this? This is starting to back up. According to Justice for All, a neighbor from his chat sent him a pic of the house before the arrest and before police activity. Interesting. I'll have to go back and review that. I haven't had an opportunity to be there. Honey Dip, do you think he was in the car with them? It's possible. Everything is on the table, but it's possible. And I think somebody did say that. We had a call in this morning. Linda Lou called in this morning, and I think she said something to the effect of, it is possible that he shot them in the while they were in the front seat, and then he dragged the body around because of the drag marks. So I thought, that does make sense. So it is possible that everybody was in the car, and this really did happen in the car as well, and that would have muffled the sounds of the shot too from the neighbors because of the glass and the fact that everything was rolled up and it was sealed up. So while it would have still been a loud sound, it would have been a much muffled sound, in my opinion. IDT, they have found, let's see, they have found the crime scene where it actually took place. What is I? I'm half asleep over here. What is IDT? I don't think they found. I don't think if they did, they haven't told anybody yet, because they haven't told a squat. And trust me, that affidavit is like is bare as you can get. It's skeleton bare. Yes, James, I've been silencer. Let's see. I saw Matthew have a silencer on his own too. Interesting. So we definitely have silencers, but again, I think if they did find the silencer though, I think they could test the bullet. I think that even with the silencer could give them an accurate ballistic reading, because it would have given its own stuff. I don't know how that stuff works, but I know when they were asked about the ballistics, he didn't want to. I wonder if I can go back to that. I know when he was asked about the ballistics, he didn't want to. I don't think it's going to. Is it going to? I don't think it's going to let me go back to it. Oh, wow. Oh, well. Oh, well. But I'll go back and find it, but I'll listen to it again. But I think it was crazy because he said we do have the murder weapon. We have the gun. We retrieved the gun from the suspect's home. And then they asked him, well, can you tell us anything about the ballistics? He's like, well, I don't really have anything on the ballistics. And I'm thinking, well, you just called it the murder weapon. So obviously somebody has something on the ballistics. So I didn't know if anybody else had caught that or not, but I did. Well, the dad is way too big to get into pull him in. Well, maybe not. I mean, you could hold him at one side while the son went over to the other side. It was a 4-door vehicle, and the son could have grabbed him by the shoulders and possibly. I mean, I don't know. I just think this is just it's horrible all the way around. I don't know why people this day and age think that they can just kill people and get away with it. I don't know what that impulse is. I wish that impulse would go away. I don't know what is doing this. I really don't. Did I tell you thank you? I know I went up quite a bit, but thank you, and God bless you. In my opinion, I think he was in the driver's seat. Let me just put Laura Dawn's up here. In my opinion, I think he was in the driver's seat and was dragged from the front to the back seat. I think they stopped and picked up Chris to make the deal. Interesting. Do you guys feel the same way I do about the father? I feel like the father knows more than he's saying a little bit, not much. I really don't. I'm looking at that father and I feel like he's jammed up over his son. I really think his son really did it this time, type of thing, and it's sad that the father stuck his neck out way out there like that. But I really don't think his father helped plan this, knew his son was going to do this. I mean, I could be wildly wrong. I'm putting a lot of assumption into that man that I don't know, that, has flashed gang signs with his kids, his very, very young kids, which I absolutely disdain. I just, there's just some things you should not expose your children, even if you're a gang member. Okay, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. Okay, you guys know I was a hophead, right? Okay, I smoked the Mary Jane, I smoked the weed, right? I laugh at saying that. But I did. Okay? And I remember I got in so much trouble. My parents came unglued. Well, now a little years later, my parents are split up, they're divorced, and I was at my father's house. And I was looking for tweezers, dental floss, Blistex, something really stupid. I don't know what in the world I was looking for, but I was looking for something, and I'm in the bathroom looking for whatever I'm looking for. And I pull this one drawer back, and there is marijuana rolled cigarettes in a put out ashtray. And you're talking about a man that came unglued when he found out that I had that stuff in his house. And what I'm trying to say is sometimes being a parent is truly do as I say, not as I do. You don't have to flaunt it in front of your children. You can just do it and do the right thing for your kids. Be the hypocrite when it comes to your kids, especially if you know what you're doing is wrong, is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Ramon wasn't just wiping the car. He helped load the bodies and dispose of them. See, that's kind of where I'm going to. I think his dad's more involved. I'm hoping he's not, but I really do believe he's more involved. I'm kind of feeling, though, that I might be too critical, though. I really can't. I just can't. I don't know. I just don't want to believe. I think that's what it is. Somebody's going to have to try to convince me that his father can do this. I just don't want to believe it. It doesn't seem like even the police chief believes it, to be honest with you. It seems like his dad got jammed up into a situation and probably did knee-jerk reactions instead of rationally thinking about the situation, which is what happens. You got to think, in all fairness, we don't know. His father could have been working in shock for all we know. He's an older man, he's a heavier set man. He just gets this bomb dropped in his lap and probably scream and get the bodies out. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to make light of this, but I don't know. I just when it comes to Ramon, I don't know what to think of him, because he obviously was associated with gangs, and it just it has a bad taste in my mouth. It has a really bad taste in my mouth. He was just complicit, but in my opinion, admitted to some of lesser charges. Yeah, but see, he was just so cooperative, and it makes me. It's the cooperation that makes me want to step back and have to think, if he did do this and helped his son, we have to think of his intent. Was his intent to hurt people? Or, and I think that's where it is. I don't think his dad's intent was ever to hurt. But at the end of the day, his dad had, it just still doesn't matter. I mean, his dad had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to come clean, come forward, tell the truth, and chose not to. And we have to take that into consideration as well. I mean, he didn't even want to have to deal with his own accountability issues. He was just hoping that he could shove it under a rug, park a car, away from the home, and call it a day. And pray to God nothing happens and it just goes away. What kind of message is that teaching your children? I just thought, and I think that might be why they chose to charge him. I mean, to be honest with you, when you look at it like that, he does need to be held accountable for something. He was complicit somehow, some way, even if it was to help his son not be accountable for what he did. It's called accessory after the fact. We did find out that they were charged. I did get this. So we know that Chris was charged with capital murder in 2 of the cases, and then the state attorney said that looks like they're building the case for the 3rd for baby Fabian. But there was an additional charge, and we knew that Ramon was charged with the concealment of or the abuse of a corpse. So now they have also been additionally charged with accessory and concealment of evidence. So they're charging both of them with the additional, basically tampering with physical evidence, concealment. I guess that would be probably dumping the car, wiping the car down, trying to conceal the crime that took place. So let's see what else we have going on here. Okay, Angel says, there was a closer up video on the meetup, and one of you showed the driver's side was wide. The other passenger's side meets and was wiped. I think it's this one. Well, this is not a video. This is like a slide. I don't know if this is what you're talking about. I did this right here, my sumo wrestler. My sumo wrestler presentation right here. That one, I don't know, but it's like the more I played with the filters, the more a different man appeared. And so I got to take that for a lesson of my own. I think when I saw those compression socks, I knew this person was an older man, and I should have been looking for an older man. I should watch how that could have been clipped and turned. See how easy that is? See how easy it is? Oh, thank you. God bless you. It's me, Jen. Thank you. Thank you. Love it. Love it. So I really don't have a whole lot more to say about this. We heard what the prosecutor said. We heard what the police chief said. We wish that the media would have asked a little bit more questions. They didn't. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know why they're not curious at every single detail. I personally ask the questions. I know that there's times when people have to say, we can't answer that. That goes to the integrity of the investigation. And it sounds like a broken record, but sometimes the public needs to know that they know that the people asking the questions know what the public is wanting to hear. And because the public's like, we're sitting here like, why didn't you ask this? Why didn't you ask that? Why didn't you ask this? I'm sure the public is too. So it just ask the questions. Let the professionals tell you. It goes to the integrity of the investigation. You never know. You might ask a question of information they might be willing to share, because you never know unless you ask. We don't know if the gun was his. They didn't ask. And they're probably going to say, well, if we would have asked, they would have just said it goes to the integrity. Well, then let them say that. It's a suggestion, a really strong suggestion. I know it's getting a little saucy up in here. Betty's looking for an older man who's a sumo wrestler. I gotta say, I spent a lot of time watching some videos. I spent a lot of time looking at body shapes, half naked body shapes. It was a very interesting experience. Every single one of these cases, I learned something new. I learned things that I don't ever want to do again. But now I know, right? The education is there. I don't have to repeat this lesson, okay? I now know what a 200-pound man looks like. I now know what a 400-pound man looks like. And I know what a 600 to 800-pound man looks like. Oh, good Lord. Where's did I take my, I did. I took it off. I don't even have my wah. I took it. I took to go charge it. Real me, yes. Oh, so happy for you. So happy for you. for the push. Oh, good Lord. We're taking this this chat right into the wrong direction. I can tell you that. They already alluded to it being Matthew's gun when they said Chris said he manipulated. Yeah, I guess we could make that leap there. I still like a little. They still should have asked, and that would have been a perfect question, Ashley. Right? That would have been a perfect question. It seems like you alluded to the affidavit that Christopher. How did they manipulated the gun out of Matthew's hand? Was it Matthew's gun that shot him and Savannah with? There, boom. Question asked. Perfect. Then we have clarification on it, right? Now we don't have to assume. And then they could say, well, it goes to the integrity of the investigation, and we don't really want to answer that at this moment. And we're going to be like, right? But at least the question was asked. But again, we're making the assumption that it is. Just because that's the story that Chris told him doesn't mean that's the weapon that was used to kill him. That's just the story Chris told him. I'd like somebody to say, yeah, it was his gun, because now we can go on, now Bullhorn Betty can go on a diatribe of why guns are very dangerous to carry. You have seconds to use them. So don't carry a gun. Don't point a gun at somebody unless you're willing to pull the trigger that moment, because it can be used against you in a heartbeat. And so I would have went on to that diatribe. But, since I don't need to go on that diatribe, I just went on it anyways. See how that works? And you can't see it. Yeah, dang. Free Clubber. I don't know who you are. I always want to give you a kiss. I'll just give you a kiss anyways. There you go. There you go. Free that poor Clubber. And you know what? That Clubber belongs here with the Clubbers, okay? There are no other Clubbers on this platform other than the Coffee Clubbers. Remember me getting teased? Oh, did you hear them? They call him the Clubber. I think this guy's a wackadoo, this eggplant. I think he has like overboard for me, right? Because he used to tease me about being a clubber, and now he names his dog Clubber, right? And he can't quit picking on me. I need to stop. Don't get your panties in a wad. Jeez Louise. I don't believe he took Matt's gun. I think it was a story Chris made up. Yeah, see, I'm either or, because this case has been anything but normal, which most of these cases that do get this kind of attention are usually anything but normal. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the gun right now. We just don't have enough information. And either way, well, it matters to me whether it was Matthew's gun or whether it was his gun. It does matter to me, because it really does seal the fate for me. If this really was Chris's gun and not Matthew's gun, it seals the fate for me that this man premeditated this hit, and most likely to rob them, and which I think is truly what really happened. So I don't think it was a drug deal. I think that it may have been couched as that one way or another, whether he was going there to pick it up. Well, and then that changes everything for me too. If he's going there to pick it up from Chris, if Chris is the then I'm looking at his dad like the kingpin, because how is Chris moving this much weight? We know his dad was affiliated with the gangs, and we know that most people that are higher up in the gangs have to live normal lifestyles because they got to launder their money. So they're going to have businesses such as, AC businesses and stuff like that. Potentially, I'm not saying that's the case here. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm saying if these details matter to me on my position on what I feel may or may not have happened. Because every decision, there's a reason. And we need to know what that reason is. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know how you guys feel, but either way. We are the Coffee Clubbers. we need to put down our bullhorns and our coffee and pick up the clubs. And not the golf clubs either. Oh, good Lord. Good Lord. You know what? I think I have an extra small Bullhorn Betty shirt back there somewhere. Maybe I'll do a skit. I'll wear my skin. Make my head look like it's about to pop. Let's see what else we have. All right. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, was the dad affiliated with the? I don't. You know what, Margaret? I don't know who he was affiliated with. All we had was a photo of him taken off a public profile. You know, it wasn't anything recent. It was when his son, Chris, this 19-year-old, you know, pretty little boy, when he was really young, when he was just a little boy, you know, an innocent little boy. And when he was just an innocent little boy, him and his other two other innocent little brothers is flashing gang signs with his dad. Ramon. I don't know why his name is so hard for me. Ramon. You know, so it's no matter how, even if his dad changed his life, he's the one that brought this to their front door with his decisions and how he perceived this kind of lifestyle to his children when they were at impressionable ages. These kids were throwing gangs. They couldn't. How old could those kids have been? Do I have that here? Hold on a second. I could have sworn. Was it sent to me by text message? Let me see if it was sent to me by. Might have been sent to me by text message. I can't remember. I can't find it. But it was a picture of him. He was much younger. Ramon was much younger, very thin. He was not the size he is today. He was very tall, almost like the size of maybe a little thicker than Matthew. He was about the lanky, skinny size Matthew was. Pretty little boy. Oh, good Lord. He needs to quit drinking. It's his problem. He's just a lush. And it makes him an idiot. That's probably why he acts like a freaking kid. It's disgusting. Like, you know, you wonder why he has the life he lives. He's got to live with roommates, doesn't have has the steel dog. I mean, I don't know if he stole the dog. I don't like spreading around misinformation. I know people are teasing him that he does. I don't know where he got the dog. I mean, at this point, I don't know. But yeah, I'm sorry. But anybody that has respect for somebody that can't even, whatever. To each their own. God bless them. Teach their own. Anyways, that's all I have, guys. I wanted to bring this. I didn't realize they were going to have a press conference. It was almost too late when I decided to pull the press conference up, but I'm glad we got here. I'm glad I got a chance to listen to that. It was important, but I think the messaging is, they need everybody to kind of back off, It sounds to me like this is intense. A lot of people are calling a lot, but it's a national case. And a lot of these communities don't understand that until it really happens. And when it happens, it's very, very intense. Okay, we got it. Hold on, it's coming in now. I saw it pop up, but then it's not coming through yet. I don't know. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Go rock it out with your coffee beans out. We'll be back here tomorrow morning. Don't forget, we're going late tomorrow morning. If you are a early bird, if you're an early bird, 6:30, or we're going to be at 7:30 tomorrow. 7:30 tomorrow, 7:30 tomorrow morning, 7:30 tomorrow morning. We will not be here at 6:30. You can sleep in for an hour. Do not set your alarms for 6:30. I will not be here, and you will be wide awake at 7:30 when I get here. Or 7. Yeah, much better. Yes, 7:30, 7:30. We will be here tomorrow morning. 7:30. See you then. Love you guys. Take care.